Welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. Are you ready to discover some niche business ideas that actually work? Well, it's time for a motivational kick to jumpstart your next big idea. Here's your host, Spencer Haas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Haas from nichepursuits.com. And today I've got another guest interview. His name is Ben Doyle. He's from the UK. And it's kind of a unique angle for this interview. Typically, when I do guest interviews, I bring somebody on that has been very, very successful. They come back on to share how they have become so successful and those sorts of things. I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm trying to bring somebody in that's really on the ground floor in terms of their niche site, that still has questions. They've been trying and struggling. They're right in the middle of it. They're not making a lot of money yet, and they have questions for me, and I'm going to look at their website and provide some advice. So today, that's exactly what we do with Ben and his website. To add a little bit of a wrinkle to that, his website, which you can go and look at, it's petcheckers.co.uk. It's actually a local services company. They do dog grooming, they do dog walking and dog care there in the UK. And that side of the business is doing all right. You know, it's enough to support him and his wife and a few other people. But he really wants to build out the content side of the website, which he really is just getting started on and wants to make a little bit of affiliate revenue. And so he has a lot of questions. And so during this interview, you're going to hear me look at the website, do a quick walkthrough, and share some of the tips that I feel like will be able to take his website to the next level. So hopefully you guys enjoy this type of interview. It's a little bit different. Like I said, somebody that hasn't had a lot of success, at least in terms of a niche site yet, that has a lot of questions that I feel like perhaps you as a listener would find interesting because you might be in a similar situation. So hopefully you enjoyed the interview. It was a lot of fun doing it with Ben. So enjoy the interview. Hey, Ben, welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast.
Hi, Spencer. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm excited to have you on. I'm doing something a little bit different with these podcast interviews, where typically in the past, I've always brought on people that are doing really well with their niche sites or have built a large business and they want to talk about, you know, some of the success that they've had. I'm bringing you on to see if we can dive into your business and maybe see if we can take it to the next level, which is a little bit different approach than I've done in the past. So we'll sort of venture through this together and see how it goes. All right?
Okay, no problem.
Sounds good. So can you give us a brief background of your business or work experience previous to building out websites?
Yeah, previously I was in retail sales. I used to sell high-end furniture to a lot of the football players, or you call them soccer players, over here, and quite a lot of actors. So I take it you've heard of David Beckham.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I've sold furniture to him.
Oh, really? So very high-end stuff.
Yeah, it was really high-end stuff. And then I went into sort of high-end visual audio equipment and stuff like that. So my background is mainly in sales.
Yep. No, that's awesome. So having done that as your background, how did you eventually get into building out a website, and what was your first venture online?
Well, I've always been one of these people that have hated working for someone else. So I was always looking for a way to sort of ditch the job, if you like. And then there was a guy in the UK, I don't want to mention his name in case he comes after me, but he's a massive name in the UK, and he's all about selling information products and that sort of thing. Now, that was back in 2008, and I went to one of his seminars, and I got suckered into that. And I basically bought the resale rights of like his hypnotherapy CD, and I went into the sort of the ins and outs of building the website, and I couldn't do it myself. Then I outsourced the website like he recommended, and I got stung for about $2,000. It was just literally just a single page like sales page, and then I spent another $400 in getting these CDs duplicated, and then nothing happened. I got to that point, but I couldn't figure out what to do next. And then, to make matters worse, I was on the Warrior Forum a lot, looking at how to obviously sell all these CDs that I've just made.
Right.
And I got sucked into all the get-rich-quick schemes, and I sunk another load of money into these sort of WSOs and
right, all the special offers that are always coming up all the time.
Yeah, and I literally lost my shirt, and that was sort of my first foray into making money online. Didn't go very well.
Yeah, so kind of a bumpy start there. But
yeah,
your story maybe is not too dissimilar to a lot of other people. Not that is comforting really in any other way, perhaps, but I think a lot of us have tried different things that just were a complete failure. We lost money, that sort of thing. But you're still at it here, obviously. So something has changed a little bit. Can you tell us about your online business right now, what you're focusing on?
Yeah, well, as our business right now, we're not just an online business. We're actually a local business providing services to our local area. So we offer pet care services. So we do dog walking, pet sitting, and we've literally just opened a dog grooming salon as well. So that part of the business we did last year. We've been going about 4 years. So last year we did about £80,000, which I think is about $100,000.
Yep, I think that's about right.
And then I've never forgotten the online side of things, and I figured that we're in the pet space. It's something that I know about, something that I enjoy. So I figured, why not create a niche site around what we're already doing?
Right.
And I also figured that we've got a website that's ranking well in Google locally. We're at the top of Google for all the search terms we're going after locally. And I figured the site already had some authority, so I'd build a niche site on top of our existing local business site.
Perfect. Yeah. So can you give us an idea, because I've been to your site and you're obviously, like you said, offering those local services. Do you have any idea of how much of your business is coming from your website, coming from leads from Google versus how much is just, sort of word of mouth?
Yeah, about 90% of the stuff of new business comes through Google.
It does, 90%.
Yeah, it's a massive percentage, and the other 10% is generally word of mouth. We don't do any offline advertising at all.
Okay, so pretty much all of your advertising is online then. So I do want to focus just a little bit on the service side of the business, and then we'll talk about sort of the niche side, if you will. So you're ranking naturally in Google for a lot of local search terms. Are you doing any paid traffic as well, or is it all just natural SEO traffic that gets most of your leads?
As it is, it's all natural search traffic. That being said, we are looking at we're looking into Facebook pay-per-click for the dog grooming, because we literally opened the salon last month, so we're trying to fill our books up as quickly as we can, because we want to open another dog grooming salon and literally just take over our local area, really, in terms of the services we offer. So we're going to be going into Facebook ads, and we're actually setting up the first one tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Awesome. No, that's good, because obviously you can target people quite well using Facebook, so I'm sure there's a lot you can do.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to be looking at the higher end of the market, so I'm aware that Facebook, you can sort of filter by income and all that sort of stuff, so we can target the more affluent people in our area, hopefully.
Now, before we get too far down the road, is it okay if we share the URL with people for your business?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Okay, so it looks like it's petcheckers.co.uk.
Yeah, that's right.
So I encourage people to go and check that out so they can see exactly what we're talking about. I think you've done a great job with the landing page and sort of the sales pages that you have for the different services that you have. I think it looks great.
Thanks. Do you know, it took forever to build this site to have it as I wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, I think it looks fantastic. So good job there. As far as the services, are you yourself walking dogs, pet sitting, or do you have staff doing that now?
Well, there's me and my wife. I walk dogs, but I generally take on the more I don't like saying aggressive dogs, but the more problem dogs. I am quite good with dogs, to be fair. So I take on the problem dogs. My wife, she's doing the grooming, and we've got 6 staff in the business as well that are walking dogs and grooming and pet sitting and everything else.
Okay. Very nice. And so do you have a like a physical storefront right now, or what's that like?
Yeah, well, we've got the grooming salon. So that's our storefront,
okay.
if you like. So
Mm-hmm.
people, it's not sort of open to the public, if you like, where people can just come in just because we've got dogs on the table that might want to try and escape if the doors are open. But we have got a physical location in a good part of the town where we are visible.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, no, that gives me a good idea, and also people listening, kind of the operation that you're running here, and how very cool it is that 90% of your business comes from online, even though you've got a physical location, and there's word of mouth that your local business is really the business is generated by Google search engine traffic, online marketing. So I think that's awesome. So up to this point, I mean, you've built a good service business. What in particular has worked well for you to grow the business to where it's at right now?
I think just genuinely trying to be the best at what we do. There's quite a lot of businesses that are sort of in our industry in the local area that it's obvious that they're there to try and make the money while the going's good. And there's been a couple of businesses actually go bankrupt because of that. So we concentrate on being absolutely the best at what we do. And I think relationships with our customers is sort of our top priority, really.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our customers have become good friends. And I think that's testament to what we're doing. And I think that ultimately we're just trying to add value to people's lives.
Yep.
And we're doing it in the best way that we can. So I think that's sort of been the secret to our success, really.
Yeah, and I think that's probably critical in your business, obviously, because these customers are all repeat. Hopefully you're walking their dogs on a regular basis, or grooming their dogs on a regular basis. So you have to treat your customers right, in particular in your business, because hopefully it is a repeat type customer over the long term.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we have customers that have been with us that pay us week in, week out, and they've been with us for the past 3 years. So it's losing one customer could be like losing £3,000 a year. That's literally how much a customer could be worth to us. So, and not just that, it's an emotional sort of business because we're dealing with people's animals, animals that people care about. So it's not like a piece of software or a piece of hardware that is a chuck away product that we're dealing with. It's people's family members. So we've got to get that right.
Yep, absolutely. So now moving on to maybe parts of your business that you have questions with or are struggling with. Prior to this interview, we had talked a little bit about, you're wanting to build out the content side of the website to bring in more traffic and even more income. So in that regards, what are some things that you're struggling with right now that maybe we can discuss?
Well, one of the things it's been racking my brains for a few weeks now, and there's not that much content on the site yet because I've got a million other things to do in a day. I sort of do it as and when I can. But one of the things that I've been looking at lately is silos and website structure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been quite confusing because as it is, the content on my site is literally just blog posts, and there's they're categorized, but there's not that much structure. And I don't really like the way my blog posts look anyway. So I've been reading about silos and how to categorize the content. And I've been I've just been confused with it. Some people are saying that you need, like a root directory. Some people are saying that silos are just built through internal links. And I've been struggling to know which way to go.
Right.
So I've actually started it today, where I've been changing all my blog posts to pages and actually creating a page structure with the parent-child feature within WordPress. Now, I know Google say that they prefer the sort of keywords to be as close to the URL as the root URL as possible, and not through so many subdirectories. But I think in the niche that I'm in, the websites that tend to rank have got lots of subdirectories. So my thought process is, well, if it's working for them, it'll work for me. So I'm still not entirely sure. So that's something that confuses me slightly.
So yeah, let's talk about this. So I can give you my thoughts. To be honest, at the end of the day, it maybe doesn't matter too much whether you're using pages or posts. Okay, in terms of how Google looks at them, Google just sees everything as an individual URL, if you will, right? They're not too concerned whether you published it on a page in WordPress or a post in WordPress. So you can go the route that you're going of, doing the parent-child type relationship. I personally don't do that because it seems like more work, because you can still get the very siloed structure just using WordPress categories. So, think of your categories as your silo, right? So if I don't know what categories you currently have, but let's say you have a dog grooming category or a dog training category, right? So anything that's related to dog grooming, you're going to tag in that category. And then ideally, you're going to go one step further, and all of your articles within the dog grooming category, you're going to be interlinking with each other. Okay.
Right.
Just where it makes sense. So it's less about a physical structure a lot of times and just more about a linking structure. Okay. That's a big part of it. And then it sounded like another question that you had was more about the menus or the directories that you're using, right? In your header or your sidebar. Is that kind of what you were referring to when you say a lot of other websites had, subdirectories and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's just to make it, at the end of the day, more user-friendly.
Right. Yep. Easier to navigate. Sure.
Yeah.
And so you can still do the exact same menus and submenus with pages or posts.
Right, okay.
So you can go within WordPress and you can go to the menu category, and you can create custom menus that include posts from certain categories or however you want. So you can build that menu any way you want, whether it's pages or posts. So I don't know if that really clarifies your question, other than I always use posts and just use categories to create my silo structure, and then I try to interlink as much as possible everything within the same category.
Right, okay.
So
that makes sense.
So you can go either way. I would just do what makes the most sense, just with the overall strategy of, okay, I want to keep everything that's in a similar category or silo. I want to try and interlink those to really, at the end of the day, to make it as user-friendly as possible for users, so that when they're reading an article about dog grooming, they can go to another article that's maybe more nuanced on a certain part of dog grooming or something like that.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions or issues that are going through your head right now?
Not a question so much, but there's a particular article that I've written that I really want to rank on the first page, and it's just not happening. And it's all to do with pet insurance, which is wildly competitive anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean, I've thrown so many links at that compared to any other page on my website, and it's stuck on page 2 for 2 key terms that I'm going after. And it's been on page 1, but it drops back, and it's just, I don't know if it's because the pages that seem to be ranking are more leaning towards insurance and finance type sites, and whether I need to build a bit more topical relevance around that subject. That sort of confuses me slightly in terms of whether I should just give it up or whether I should keep pursuing it.
Well, if you're already on the second page, it does mean obviously that Google is willing to rank your content. So it seems like, based on what you've told me, that you're close, and that there's a couple of things that I would look at potentially doing. And I can maybe guess which article it is. I'm just looking at, well, and you have a few different articles, I guess, on pet insurance.
Yeah, the review ones already rank.
Okay.
If that helps.
Yeah. So, but just knowing it's about pet insurance in general. So what you can do is, and I can see that your article, one of the articles I'm looking at, and again, I don't know if this is the exact one you're talking about, but it does look in depth, but you could go and beef up that content even more. Google does rank longer, more in-depth articles better in general. And so what I would recommend doing is going back into this article and thinking, okay, how can I add another 1,000 or 2,000 words of content that would make it even better? Or is there an infographic I could create related to this that would make this article even better? Okay, so for some of these more competitive terms, it can make sense to create a 5,000 to 7,000 word long article, like a really, really in-depth piece of content that is just super, super valuable. And Google sees that, and they can reward that. So beefing up the content length is one thing that I would look at doing. And then the other thing, of course, is looking at links. I know you said that you already have built a lot of links to this. Of course, you can look at doing some interlinking from your other articles on your site. You don't have a lot of articles, so maybe there's not a lot of links to go around there, but then doing a lot of outreach. So if you did, let's say, an infographic that's interesting, that would be a great excuse to reach out to 100 different websites and see if they would be willing to use your infographic, and of course, put a link back to your article or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, I must admit, I have struggled with infographics before in terms of trying to get someone to do them. I've hired people before to do it, and they've come back really, really bad.
Mm.
And they've not been cheap, but then it seems to often where I've been looking anyway, in order to get something that looks really nice,
mm-hmm.
people are charging upwards of $1,000. So I have struggled with infographics.
Yeah, that is tough, because I think a lot of it comes down to getting the right information on the infographic, right? Figuring out the strategic plan, which is really what you're going to have to do, right? Is figure out, okay, what do I want to cover in this infographic, and what's going to make it easier to reach out to people and make them want to share it. And then the design itself is perhaps secondary. So as long as the infographic itself has really quality, unique content, or is coming from an interesting angle. And again, this is really hard to just give a blanket sort of strategy, because, for pet insurance, you would have to think of specific sort of angles that you could use with that. Finding somebody to design an infographic, like you said, it can be a hurdle. It's not easy, but it's certainly, you can go to Upwork. There's lots of other services that provide infographic design. But that's not the only thing. I mean, I don't want to say that you have to do an infographic. That's just one idea. But the key is, sort of beefing up content and then having something that you can use to outreach to other people that are going to make them more likely to respond. So whether that's an infographic or if you just are confident that your article is so in depth and quality that in and of itself is worthy of reaching out to people and saying, hey, I provided this great piece of content. I just wanted to share it with you, and start a conversation with them to see if eventually down the road they're willing to mention it, or, just build some sort of relationship that will be mutually beneficial to both of you down the road.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And for outreach, one thing that I've done that works pretty well is compiling, of course, a list of all the websites that might make sense to mention, pet insurance on their website. And then using a tool like Ninja Outreach or some other outreach tool that will go and essentially scrape all the contact information from all these websites and makes it really, really fast to contact, 100 different websites, so that you're not spending, a whole week contacting 100 websites trying to do outreach. It's something that you can do in an hour or two.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because in terms of the link building that I've done or that I have been doing at the moment, I've actually hired someone to do it because I hate it. Right. I hate it with a passion just because it takes so much time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just the fact that I'm not very good at it, but my hit rate has been pretty poor.
Yeah, it does take time. And the overall response rate is going to be low, right? If you contact 100 websites, you might only get 3 or 4 that eventually are actually going to link to you. It all depends. So it is tedious work, and you still may want to consider having a VA, use some tools and do that outreach for you. But that kind of comes down to, if you have the time. But there are tools that can make it a lot faster.
Yeah. Okay. And what's that called? Ninja Outreach?
Yeah, one is called Ninja Outreach. And if people do want to check that out, I do have a special URL they can go to. It's nichepursuits.com/ninja. So nichepursuits.com/ninja. And there's other outreach tools out there, but that's one that we're using right now in our business, and we like a lot. So.
Okay. I might give that a try.
Okay. And then just in general, do you have any other questions? If not, I've got a few things that, I would just recommend as I reviewed the site.
No, I don't think so. The only other concern that I suppose we may have is sort of the exit strategy of the whole business.
Mm-hmm.
We was approached this week by a private equity company that are looking to buy us out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, we're not currently in the position, or we don't want to sell as of yet. But I suppose the unique problem that having the niche site attached to the business presents is that when we spoke to this company, they said, well, we're just looking to buy out pet care companies. We're not interested in running a website. That's not our forte. So I think our exit needs some thinking about, because if anyone does want to buy us out as a pet care company, they're not potentially, in fact, they probably won't be interested in running a website. I don't know how much value that would take off the whole business from an exit strategy point of view, but that's I suppose a unique problem that we may face.
Right. At the same time, if 90% of your business is coming from your website, right, new leads, that's obviously something that I would think they would want as part of the deal, wouldn't they?
Well, I'm more talking about the niche side of it, because we're obviously doing some affiliate marketing on through the articles. It's not just coming through local search, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So we are making money, not a lot of money, but we are making affiliate income as well, which I suppose a dog walker or someone that is looking to buy this business would be interested in.
I guess that's something that you would have to figure out with each individual buyer. I guess I look at it and I don't see a separation per se, right? I mean, I know you have your content side and then you've got your services side, but really, I mean, it's just one website, and the people reading your articles, hopefully some of them are people from, your town in the UK, and maybe are going to be interested in your pet services anyway. So the articles are really, I would say, a lead generation tool for your services business as well. Yes, you're going to make some affiliate revenue, but I would, and this was one of my recommendations, is I would make it, I'd have like some in-content ads, certainly sidebar stuff, maybe pop-ups to get people on an email list, right? To eventually drive everybody over to the service side of your business. And so I think that actually would make your business much more valuable to an outside buyer, right? Maybe there's some buyers, the people that you talk to that have no interest in running a website, but I would think the more savvy buyers would value your business much higher if you have a larger content side of your business that's driving fresh leads all day long to the service side of your business.
Right. Okay.
So that's maybe a case by case scenario with the individual buyer. So, I would say from a strategic standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to build out the niche site content, to focus on just bringing in as much traffic to your site as possible. Yes, some of that's just going to be affiliate revenue, but if you've got thousands of people coming to your website, certainly some percentage of that is going to be able to be pushed over to your email list and to your services as well. So, I mean, you've really got a good start to the content side of the business. What I would focus on is building out some really long, in-depth articles. I'd call them pillar articles. Maybe find 5 or 6 keywords that you want to target. And if you can find anything local, that would be cool too, that you're not already ranking for. Build out these pillar articles of, 5,000 to 7,000 words long, and then do some link building to those individual pillar articles as needed, and also do some internal linking. Another thing that you could do is, and I don't know how much of this you've done, but local citations. Because you are a local business and have a local phone number, you can get listed in lots of local business directories and get lots of links that, just a regular niche site builder wouldn't be able to get. Have you guys done much of that?
Yeah, we have. We've
okay.
When we first started the business, and we did another round of that when we opened the grooming salon. So we have got quite a lot of citation links.
Perfect.
Pointing at us already. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so that's good. That's a nice advantage that kind of a local business can have that others might not. And then the other thing for monetization, like I did mention, is trying to have some sort of in-content ad that drives people over to your business services would make a lot of sense. And then also putting people onto an email funnel. If you can, be getting as many people as you can onto your email list to drive them over to your services, or if nothing else, if they're not within your area, to send them over to products that they might be interested in buying. So,
that is something we have thought about, an email list. It's just it becomes one of those other things you've got to do.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? As opposed to, I've got to write the content, I've got to walk the dogs, I've got to photograph the dogs. It's just another thing that's, I think, on the to-do list, I suppose.
Yep. No, it's not easy. And certainly when you're hands-on, like you said, actually running the business to also be doing all the content marketing, it's not an easy task. And so it is something that, you might want to look at hiring certain pieces of your business, whether that's the content or the dog walking or whatever that is, when you're able to, it potentially could be a way to grow the business.
Yeah, I mean, we could pass the dog walking on to the staff that we've already got, but for me, that's a a nice part of my life. I like being out during the day with them. So that's not something I potentially want to give up. But at the same time, I don't trust anyone to write the content as well as I do.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm the best writer, but again, finding people to write decent content is, I've never had much luck doing it.
Yeah, no, it can be tough. And I'll say the same. I've had to go through several writers for some of my sites before I find one that I like and am willing to use on a regular basis. So it's not easy. Overall though, the potential is really there to build out a big side of the content, of your business, the niche side of your business. If you take a look at other dog related websites, it's a huge niche. There's other sites doing really, really well. And so that'd be one thing that if you haven't done, I would recommend looking at all these other dog websites, dog affiliate websites even, that are doing really well and looking at the keywords that they're ranking for. And perhaps you would consider, targeting similar keywords, sort of learning from what they're doing really well. And there's no reason that you couldn't build out the content side, extensively from what you've done already.
Yeah, I mean, because we're pets, we're quite generic. So,
yes.
I mean, I'm concentrating just on dogs at the moment because it's such a big area, and I've got about 17,000 keywords that, to be fair, aren't that competitive.
Wow.
That I can write through. Just going through competitor sites and analysing the keywords that they're ranking for. So I've got a lot of work to do just in terms of writing content for dogs, but there's obviously so many other types of pets that we could go after. The site could be huge.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, some of these affiliate sites are, 6-figure a year sites in their own right, just in affiliate sales. So the potential is there. You have the unique struggle of you're not just working on the website, you're running the business. And so that's sort of a juggling act of an entrepreneur that you have to figure out how you can kind of work on your business and not always be working in the business. So you have a little bit of time to think strategically and sort of be on the outside looking in so you can make those strategic moves and you're not always bogged down with the day to day. And that's a struggle. But it's something that if you're able to, hire, if the business is able to afford to hire people to do certain tasks, that gives you the freedom to make more strategic decisions and make some of these bigger moves, that can pay off dividends down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just something that we've got to sit down and figure out between us, I think.
Yep, absolutely. So, no, good. I'm excited. Like I said, I love the website. And again, people can check that out if they want. It's over at petcheckers.co.uk, so they can see what you got going on there. And maybe a few months down the road, you can sort of let me know how it's going. And we can sort of follow along with your progress.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be fun.
Okay. Sounds good. Is there any other final questions or anything else that you'd like to leave listeners with before you go?
Just, I suppose, a bit of advice more than anything is that when I was struggling genuinely to make any money, it was because I was too busy chasing it, I think. And I think once you changed your mindset to actually helping people and actually providing value to someone else's life, that money is just a byproduct of that, I think. Mm-hmm. And trying to chase the money, well, you don't need to. Making money isn't difficult then. And that's something that we've learned, not just through building the website, but through building the whole business as a whole. So I think for the people that are struggling to make money, just reevaluate what they're doing in terms of are they trying to make money or are they trying to actually help people? And I think if they're honest with themselves, quite a lot of people are just trying to make money, and that's where they're going wrong.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. If people can perhaps make that slight mind shift, right? Stop chasing the money and focus on a quality product and helping people out. I think that's a great tip that will never get old. I think that will always be applicable. So yeah, thanks for that.
Okay.
So overall, Ben, I just want to thank you for coming on the Niche Pursuits podcast, and thank you everybody for listening.
Thanks for having me, Spencer.